Taking one from Steven Tyler and Aerosmith. Back in the saddle again. I'll drink to that. I want to say greetings, good afternoon. How the hell are you? Welcome to Beyond Ringside Live on this Wednesday afternoon, first day of June, calendar year 2026. Year's halfway done. 6 up, 6 on the way. 6 down, 6 up. Take your pick. The phraseology is completely and totally off today. What the hell? From the undisclosed location, 30 minutes south of Parts Unmentionable, yours truly, Fast Eddie Layne, welcoming in tag team partners from the Peach State, Shane Noles.
I got to read you. My calendar says today is the first day of July. How you doing, everybody?
Yeah, I figured I'd screw that up sooner or later. At least I didn't say 2025. 6 months in.
It's the halfway point of the year, though, regardless of how you slice it and how you dice.
In the booth, ready to go with the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, Ted Guinness.
Oh, my God, it's hot as balls out here.
Oh, no, I'm sitting on an ice pack. I'm good.
It is currently, I am in Batavia, New York, where it is currently 100 degrees, feels like 108 with the humidity. When did I transport back to Georgia?
No.
You have us beat.
In what capacity?
Yeah,
I mean, as far as heat and humidity for today, I'm like, we're not exactly balmy, but right now it's 88, feels like 95. It is now hotter in New York than it is Alabama.
Yeah, but it's only going to last for a week. Then next week it gets back down to the 80s, and then 2 weeks from now, summer's over.
I walked outside 2 hours ago, and it was comfortable in the mid-80s down in my neck of the woods. And then, lo and behold, went inside, got everything set up, had to make a trip. It rained, and the clouds were still in play when I had to make a short run a few minutes ago. I walked outside, cast a rod, and in midair caught a big mouth bass. The humidity was that thick after the rain. And no, there is no catch and release. We'll have a fish fry at my house later. Y'all are all invited. It has been nuts. Of course, go figure this one. I can drink a gallon of water, and by the time I go outside and stand for 10 minutes and smoke a cigarette, I need another gallon of water. The humidity does not work in reverse osmosis. Kind of like my filtration system does. First off, thank you to everybody tuning in through BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, the direct link up through Radio.co, Radio.net, and all the different methodologies in play. And apparently I did say June, and oh God, I have lost my mind. And I'm actually getting caffeine today. Coming off of...
Wait a minute, June's over, July.
You win. Score. Potential comeback waiting in the wings. I'll do it later. Coming off of one of the biggest weekends in professional wrestling that isn't nicknamed Wrestle Kingdom or WrestleMania. You had 5 outings over the course of this weekend. And I think one of the ones that shocked more people than anybody is giving it credit, or most people are really giving credit for, is the WWE Undisputed title change at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, with Sami Zayn becoming the new WWE champion. I am the most torn about this title change, but at the same time, I'm extraordinarily happy for Sami. I do have to sit back and say something that I have said in private and in quiet over the last few days. You arrive at a point in time in your life and in your career where you get to that elevated status and actually do get the top tier title for your company. And in the back of someone's mind, you look at it and go, okay, was that really a strategic title win, or was that a lifetime achievement award based on locale? And I will leave that one completely open for debate. In this case, I'll go Shane Noles.
Well, I've realized in the coming days that I have been an advocate for WWE only changes the title at the big 2, WrestleMania and SummerSlam. They didn't do that here. I have also said that they have not surprised people. They did that here. I've also been an advocate for saying that, in Saudi Arabia, they're just cash grabs. nothing ever really happens. The last time you had a title change was 2020 when Goldberg defeated the late Bray Wyatt as Fiend. So they did that here. And I can also say I head scratch here with Sami Zayn. Look, wins and losses don't matter, but in a way, this guy lost to Trick Williams at WrestleMania. The WrestleMania before that, he lost to Johnny Knoxville. Talk about rushed. I mean, I can still say it might not have been the best call because is Sami Zayn at that level? He's a great worker. He's over with the crowd. Don't know if he's made it. In a weird way, they've made me want to root for the heel Gunther, who I thought if you're going to do a title change should have been the guy to put the belt on. I don't know what their resistance is. Yes, he's held it before. CM Punk defeated him, but you know, you retire Goldberg, you retire AJ Styles, you retire John Cena, and Sami Zayn goes over Cody instead of Gunther. It's puzzling. I also am happy for Sami for all the reasons I listed above about not surprising people, only changing the belt with the big two, and not doing anything of consequence in Saudi Arabia. They did all that here, but it didn't have the emphasis for me.
Ted Guinness.
The way I look at it is this was a Jinder Mahal 2.0. Where they're placating a specific audience that they're playing to. However, it's a lot more successful than Jinder Mahal ever was, and it's only been a week. Look, and Shane, I think you got your Mania timelines wrong. Zayn lost to Knoxville at WrestleMania 38. Then WrestleMania 39 was the main event tag win with Kevin Owens over the Usos. And then 40 was WrestleMania 40. But, you know, you question whether he was the right guy or if he's over enough. I think definitely is the right guy, either for a short-term or a mid-range push, just because of, you know, if you look back when he got done with his program from Johnny Knoxville, you know, where was Sami going? He integrated himself into the Bloodline storyline so much so that he was more of a focal point than Roman Reigns at point throughout that 4-year run.
Mm-hmm.
There were times where Sami Zayn was the headliner and Roman Reigns was riding his coattails. That alone right there says that with the right push, the right booking, he could be a long-term heavyweight champion. Is this that right push or right booking? No. Do I expect him to hold the title for a long time? No. But is this going to be the last time he holds that title? I'd also say no. I think this is more of a trial balloon to see if Sami has legs as a champion, similar to what was done with Kevin Owens when he got the Universal title. And, you know, it's a different regime. I think Triple H has a little bit more faith in Sami than Vince ever did. And, you know, all the way around, I don't have anything bad to say about the title switch. Matter of fact, I was watching the show live, and I had to go to a ball game. Got home from the ball game, and instead of looking up the results, immediately started the main event and watched it. And to Shane's point, you know, where he said that, you know, they're not surprising anybody. When Shane got the 3 count on a roll-up, my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I literally popped at 1 o'clock in the morning and was like, holy shit, this is amazing. It is groundbreaking. It won't last very long, but it does a couple of things. One, it satiates the audience in Saudi Arabia, and if they do go ahead and pull the trigger and run Mania in Saudi Arabia, and they run 43, you could see a repeat of Sami Zayn winning the title at Mania. Could very well have been a trial balloon. But it also does something very important, is that it takes the title off of Cody Rhodes.
Yay!
For at least a week or so. Now, whether they put it back on him when they face off on Monday for the title is another question. I really hope they don't, but at the same time, I hope they don't hotshot Brock Lesnar into that situation. I mean, It's a title change that has a lot of questions that are brought up, and it's going to be curious to see what kind of answers that WWE provides us with.
One thing I want to throw out there, and this is and once again, I made the comment myself inside the first 2 hours after seeing the victory. I used the word, okay, he is the perfect foil to be a transitional champion. Let us not forget, and to keep the world in proper perspective about chronological positioning, which I am more advanced than my esteemed colleagues. The term transitional champion had been used for one Dusty Rhodes by more than one individual in this industry. You can use the word transitional champion all day long, and I'm going to agree with it in this regard. Just like I agreed with it when it came to Dusty. But at the end of the day, no one can ever sit back and say, well, he never held. Wrong. Dusty was 3 times National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion. Transitional champion? Sure, I'll go with that. At this moment, no one can take away the fact that Sami Zayn is the WWE undisputed champion for however long it may be. And for me, I find it ultimately hilarious that things went bang bang the way they did, no relation to the AEW pay-per-view. Because immediately after Night of Champions, you have the situation breaking down between Gunther and Nick Aldis in the backstage area in gorilla position. Well, it was released that those two were sent home. Adam Pearce was going to be the acting general manager of SmackDown in Nick's absence. And the rumor mill is running hot and heavy, and I think it's about to be more than just rumor, if it is not already as of right now on July 1, where you will probably see Gunther and Nick Aldis one-on-one in the ring. I'm going to go on the record easily and say I would like to see this match. When Nick walked away, he didn't retire. Now, I say that to say this. Adam Pearce left his boots in the ring. He went through that. I never saw, if Nick Aldis did it, even in the role as the crown jewel Nick Aldis, I know he didn't do it as Magnus or any other persona that he had. So therefore, he had not given up. I do have one itty bitty little point of contention with what Gunther said to Aldis. When Gunther said he was a failed, I'm going to argue that. He was a failed champion. He was a failed wrestler. I disagree with the use of that term. You may not have the top tier championship in a particular company, but you can't look at what Nick Aldis has done over his career and say the word failed. You could always play the game about, well, your destiny unfulfilled, or you walked away from it, or you were too scared of the competition, so you hung it up. You could use different phraseology, and I'm sure I'll get some ats on that one. I will also say, yes, I would love to see Gunther and Aldis, because I think Aldis and Gunther would make a good in-ring matchup. However, I do think it would be better, albeit a touch on the predictable side, if as the tensions build toward this match, I would like to see Adam Pearce as the special guest enforcer. Some would say that doesn't make sense. Some would say it does make sense. Both Pearce and Aldis are former National Wrestling Alliance world champions. Pearce, multi-time as well. Also, multi-time guest right here on Beyond Ringside, for which I still greatly appreciate him coming on. If it can make sense for Pearce to be a special enforcer, I'll take it. If it doesn't make sense, if they can't do it properly to where it's all going to flow, then I'll sit back and say I'll live without it. But that part having been said, Aldis, Gunter, everything else in play. Ted, I'll go to you first.
I don't have a problem with the word failed. I think that's the perfect heat word. If you're going to try to generate heat and really get into Nick Aldis, try to get into Nick Aldis' head and set up a match for SummerSlam.
Okay.
You can use all the pretty words and the nice colloquial verbal variants that you want.
Right.
Nothing stings more than, yeah, you were at the world title, but you were a failure at it. Mm-hmm. That is like the epitome of calling a dude a punk in prison.
Ooh.
You're pulling his punk card. And you and I see it a different way. I see it as a hell of a way to get heat, a hell of a way to make it personal, and a hell of a way to get Nick really invested in doing a match if that's the direction they're going to go.
As well as
other than that, yeah, I would love to see that one because I think it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Shane,
I'm going to sound so bitter. I like Nick Aldis, but I have zero interest in this. Gunther, you're the last guy in the Rumble, you don't get the title. Gunther, you retire Cena, Goldberg, Styles, you don't get the title. You have to rush in here so you can beat Seth Rollins at Mania, you don't get the title. Now you're wrestling one of the authority. I don't know. Maybe I'm just on an island alone here. I like Nick Aldis. It just doesn't excite me.
I am going to go ahead and shift topics and pull a cheat code because Shane and I had a little.
By the way, just to touch on what I'm saying, the booking of Gunther, if you're going to do this, turn him babyface because you know what I'm saying. Like if the guy keeps getting not getting it, I'm just afraid there's going to be this groundswell. Even though he's clearly a heel in his promos and his character, of why isn't this guy winning the fucking title? Maybe that's their plan all along. I doubt Shapiro and Ari Emanuel have that kind of mindset.
You know how I feel about those two, just like you know how I feel about another particular individual that we said we cheat code. We actually said we were going to lead with that one today. So I'll flip it over. Shane, go for it. You know where we're going. Ted, have fun with this one.
Well, oh gosh. I guess I'll do the actual story and then my opinion on it. It was announced yesterday at the age of 41 that LeBron James and his agent Rich Paul informed the Los Angeles Lakers of the NBA that LeBron would still be playing this upcoming season, but it would not be for the Los Angeles Lakers because he would be playing elsewhere. To quote Eddie Layne, good. Because you can look at LeBron's legacy, in air quotations, of the Lakers in 8 seasons, 1 championship, which would be in the bubble down in Orlando in 2020, 3 times missing the playoffs, 3 times swept, and twice eliminated in the first round. Granted, there's a title there, but the other 7 seasons to me don't warrant legacy. He has a legacy. It's not with the Lakers. He made his money. He made his fame as far as titles and whatnot with Cleveland and Miami. Again, there is an isolated title with LA, which I have to admit, but the other 7 seasons of sweeps, missing the playoffs, first round exit, is that something to really hang your hat on? The Lakers have already moved on. They traded for Walker Kessler today, a tremendous young center from the Utah Jazz. They have signed, forgive me here, Somali Markesha. Folks, all I can tell you, he's a very good big from the Toronto Raptors. They now have the money to do this. But you're starting to hear from Brian Windhorst and other NBA insiders that there was a meeting with the Lakers where they basically told LeBron, it is Luka Doncic's franchise now. We're moving on with him as the lead. You have a player option for a ghastly $49 million. We'd rather you not opt in for it. He didn't. For however he and Rich Paul want to spin it, that we informed the Lakers he's not coming. Whatever. You were told they're moving on. There's no shame in that. Now the Lakers actually had $50 million in cap space, and they spent it wisely. I feel great for Eddie Layne. I feel great for Mark Wallace, some of my other lifelong Laker fans who can now actually break out their gear and their merch and cheer for their favorite team, because I know it's been a complicated, conflicted struggle for the last 8 seasons.
Ted, I will go to you first.
All I can say is I saw a report that the Golden State Warriors are considering signing him now that Draymond Green has declined his player option. And my only reaction to that is thank God I don't watch the NBA anymore, because that right there would cause me to burn my Steph Curry jersey.
Mm-hmm. Speaking to Ted's point on Eddie here, Ted's a Warriors fan, lived out there on the West Coast. I don't think you'd want a 42-year-old LeBron James, who's a bad defensive player now, with that kind of baggage and mentality coming over to Golden State. And again, just on the age portion, he's 42, Curry's 38, Draymond's 37. Do you want to call it the Golden Years Warriors or the Golden State Warriors? If that team were to stay relatively healthy, they could make the playoffs. They're not beating Oklahoma City and San Antonio in the West.
Sure, we can call them the Golden Girls. Call them the Golden Retrievers. I don't care.
And also, before I stop for my portion here, pretty dirty on LeBron's part, but pretty savvy, making sure that Monday night was the last night for teams to pick up an option for a player for the next season, picking up the $2.9 million for Bronny James. The next day, LeBron tells the Lakers he's bolting.
May I?
Oh, of course, please.
I said it. I meant it. Ding dong, the bitch is gone. I have no problem breaking out my purple and gold again. I am so sick and tired of the gas bags and the phallic inhalers at ESPN and other members of the so-called sports media that have been riding this ass's jock for the last few years. There are 32 effing teams in the National Basketball Association. I'm sure all 32 teams would love to have, the other 31 would love to have some semblance of equal time that ESPN and everybody else has given the queen bitch. I am at a point, and for anybody who actually will have the brass to sit out there and say that LeBron's one of the top Lakers of all time, go F yourself. You obviously don't understand how history works. And yeah, I'm looking straight at the Gen Z group. Sorry, kids, you're targeted. And you can be triggered. I don't care. There is no way in hell that you put bitch baby Braun, senior, not junior. Don't know junior well enough. I ain't going in that direction. I'm talking about daddy. Ain't no way in hell that LeBron frickin' James is higher on the totem pole than Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jerry West, Shaquille O'Neal, Elgin Baylor, George Michael, Wilt Chamberlain, James Worthy, Byron Scott, A.C. Green, or Kurt frickin' Rambis.
Don't forget Erwin Fletcher.
Go for it.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
6'5", 6'9" with the afro.
I was going to say, you could also throw in there Jamal Wilkes, Gil Goodrich, Elgin Baylor.
I did say Baylor.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Big shot Bob.
Honestly, taking hate out of the equation, I'd have LeBron probably at like 17.
Shit.
If I was making an all-time Laker list, being fair.
He ain't even in my top 50. You want to put him above Robert Horry? Fine, go ahead. I don't think so, Tim. Thank you, Richard Karn, in the role of Al Borland in Tool Time, or Home Improvement. I am just... go ahead.
Eddie,
I'll back.
I see the sentiment, by the way. I see yours. I've just seen so much on social media. Lakers fans going into their garage, going into their closets, going into their cars and pulling out memorabilia. I mean, it feels like Freedom Liberation Day for the Los Angeles Lakers and for the franchise itself to not be handicapped by whether or not he's going to opt in at $52 million at the age of 42 when he's a bottom 10 player, in defensive rating. I think the organization and that meeting about Luka Doncic, they should. They found a gold mine in Luka Doncic with Nico Harrison, now departed, as the GM for the Dallas Mavericks, chose to trade him for pennies on the dollar. Luka Doncic healthy is one of the top 6 to 8 players in the NBA. That's how you move forward. And the Lakers have always done that kind of stuff. This time it just happens to be LeBron. I just love he and Rich Paul trying to spin the narrative that we informed the Lakers he's going to play, but not for them. Bullshit.
Inform NASA that you'd like a trip on the next rocket up and drop him off at Mars. I'd be happy. He can shoot
I guess that's like, in a way, from the French guillotine saying, I'm going to get my head chopped off after they ruled you were going to be executed.
I mean, we talk about defensive stats. Let's go back in time. Bitch baby Braun in his prime, kid, he'd go one-on-one with Dennis Rodman. No, Rodman would make him look like a preschooler. I mean, multi-time defensive player of the year, Dennis Rodman, the worm Dennis Rodman, the man who put so many people on their asses, Dennis Rodman, when he was with the frickin', not just the Bulls, but with the Pistons.
So I want to ask Ted Guinness a question here.
Go.
What do you think LeBron's motivation is? Because it can't be money. The guy's made more money off the court endorsements. He's got all the records, per se.
Sure.
You're no longer playing with your son. Your finals record is what it is. 4 titles is great. The 7 losses are terrible. But I don't know what his motivation is at this point.
He can go play with himself for all I care.
Ego. It's selfish. He has spent his career having so much smoke and sunshine blown up his ass that his head is literally filled with smoke and sunshine. And he doesn't see that he's no longer a premier name in the NBA. He's a laughing stock. He's the kind of guy that everyone who has kids are going to point to and say, don't end up like LeBron, go out on top. And the problem with LeBron is now, he wanted to go out on top. He decided not to. He thought he could win another ring. Obviously, he couldn't. And now he's floundering, trying to find some way to save face for his legacy so he can go out a champion. And the problem is, any championship team that is close to the precipice right now will not sign him because they do not need a cancer. And everyone's going to say, oh, LeBron's not a cancer. Well, but guess what? There's 2 kinds of cancers. There's malignant and benign. Malignant are the ones like Dennis Rodman who cuts practice in the NBA Finals to go appear on WCW Monday Nitro with Hulk Hogan. And then the benign cancer are the ones that affect the team just by their presence. LeBron is a benign cancer. It's time to cut him out of the league.
Yeah, Rodman goes and hangs at WCW, turns around the next night, puts down 18 points and 12 rebounds. Damn.
Yeah. Well, and you make such a good point about title teams. The Golden State Warriors the last 4 years have not been a title team. Hence why they've been in the play-in tournament. Hence why they might be motivated. But you make such a good point. The Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Denver Nuggets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and San Antonio Spurs, the who's who of the last 4 years, they're not entertaining this.
It's going to be funny because if by some miracle the Lakers do pull off the turnaround of the decade and win a championship next year, that egocentric, one-dimensional blank, 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 blank is going to try to take credit for it. So I put them in position where they could win. My leaving helped help propagate their win. Inhale my scrotum, you one-dimensional piece of gutter trash.
Wow.
Ooh. And for the record, that was edited. Before I opened my mouth, it was edited. I'm done as far as it goes with that individual. Folks, straight shoot for a hot second before we go to a break. Shane and Ted can both tell you that I put a moratorium on discussion about that person, because every other God-blessed sports outlet spent so much time talking about that person. Once again, you have 12 on the bench, 32 teams, G League, other things that are going on in 31 other franchises, and yet every other sports talk wants to spend an asinine amount of time talking about the Lakers with that person. Remember, there's more than just that person that was on the Lakers for the last 113 years. I mean, 7. Just feels like forever. That's why go ahead.
I'm sorry, for my portion, I did even see some of the younger analysts on ESPN yesterday talking about a Jaylen Brown or some other. What are some moves these teams could make to get a LeBron? And I spit out my Coke Zero because I rolled my eyes when that garbage happened when he was 29 and 30, but I can understand he was one of the top 5 players in the league in his prime. A 42-year-old LeBron team should be making moves to entice him to get in. And to Ted's point, to bring it back full circle for Beyond Ringside, it has to be ego, because Ric Flair could have walked away with the best retirement ever against Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
Now, he needed the money. LeBron James does not. Case closed.
Let me close out with this, because the team just arrived, so I need to go to start handling business. But let me just close out with this. LeBron James will never be considered the greatest of all time for one simple reason. He could never do it on his own. Shaq won titles on his own. Won titles with Kobe, but he won it on his own. Kobe won titles on his own. Won it with Shaq, but also won titles on his own. Kevin Durant could never win a title on his own. He needed Westbrook to be successful in OKC. I'll even say Steph Curry could never win a title on his own because he needed Klay Thomas and he needed Draymond Green and even to an extent needed Andre Iguodala.
Yeah.
Jordan, he didn't need Pippen. He didn't need Horace Grant. He didn't need Dennis Rodman. He could have done it all on his own. The problem is we'll never know because Jordan pulled the same kind of nonsense when he unretired and then went to play for the Charlotte Bobcats for a year or two. So you never really saw that. Here's the biggest thing about LeBron is that his ego is now writing checks that his talent level cannot cash. And that's all I've got.
You say you're about to go take care of business up in the broadcast booth?
Yeah, I got to start unpacking and doing interviews and stuff. So
Go for it. Go ahead and take your sign off. Shameless plugs, all of the above.
All right. Well, hey, if you're not doing anything tonight, 6:30 Eastern time on YouTube, Jamestown Tarp Skunks at 16-6. We are at the Batavia Muck Dogs, also 16-6. The second time that we have faced them within the span of 10 days with the top record in the Western Division of the PGCBL. Tonight is round 4, and the Skunks looking for a little bit of revenge, rolling in on a 4-game winning streak. So check them out on YouTube, 6:30 Jamestown Tarp Skunks, and I'm on Instagram at Ted Guinness. And that's all I got.
Folks, tell you what, hang tight. We're going to go to a quick one. Shane and I will return in just a moment. This is Beyond Ringside Live.